things they do.
Tonight on Newswatch, Ohio's redistricting committee misses their first deadline to come up with a new congressional map.
Plus, a potential government shutdown is hours away. How Americans will be impacted if Congress can't reach an agreement.
And in sports, Ohio football looks to win its third game in a row at Ball State. Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Parker Davis.
And I'm Morgan Anderson. Welcome to Newswatch. Ohio lawmakers, they missed their deadline to create a new congressional district map. The Joint Redistricting Committee met this morning for almost 3 hours of testimony from legislators and citizens. The debate centered around the new map drawn by Democrats. Republicans have not brought forward a map of their own. During today's meeting, lawmakers emphasized that time is of the essence.
And while this committee provides an opportunity to hear from the public, we, the legislators, have a responsibility to do our job in a bipartisan way as the people directed. The clock is ticking.
The Ohio Redistricting Committee will need to reconvene to meet their new October 31st deadline.
On Tuesday, Mike DeWine signed a new law requiring student drivers under 21 to pass a driving course before getting a driver's license. This law will force drivers aged 18 to 20 to meet the same standards as those aged 16 to 17. This means that they will have to complete 50 hours of driving practice with a licensed adult, 24 hours of driving classes, and 8 hours with a driving instructor. DeWine believes that this will reduce fatal crashes among teens.
Fall burning regulations, they go into effect tomorrow in Ohio, West Virginia, and Kentucky. Ohio law says outdoor burning is prohibited in unincorporated areas from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. during the months of October and November. The Ohio Department of Natural Resources and the Ohio State Fire Marshal say the dry weather and recent drought conditions pose a higher risk for wildfires. They also say if you are going to burn outdoors, know the current and future weather conditions, have tools and water on hand to extinguish fires, and never leave burning debris unattended.
A judge sentenced a Gloucester man at least 110 years in prison after being found guilty of multiple counts related to sexual assault involving children. A jury found 63-year-old Robert Collins guilty of 21 charges last week. Prosecutors say Collins groomed children by providing marijuana, alcohol, and vapes to create an opportunity to sexually assault them. The prosecution called 15 witnesses, including 9 victims, during the trial, which was presided over by Judge Patrick Lane. Today's ribbon-cutting ceremony marks the beginning of a new chapter for the Athens community. Since 2023, the Athens Armory building has been under construction after sitting vacant for years. The building holds a rich history dating all the way back to 1914. It previously served as a meeting place for the Ohio National Guard, but was left vacant and served as a storage unit after the last artillery battery left in 1992. Mayor Patterson shared how once he began his term in 2016, it was his goal to revitalize the space. The project could not be completed without the help of City Council, Blue Dot Co-working, Jobs Ohio, and Governor Mike DeWine. The venue is a fresh and new gathering place to invite the community to come together while keeping history alive.
It's hot outside, and you don't need me to tell you that. I mean, it's the last day of September, and we're still rolling in with shorts and T-shirts. Let's head on over to the Weather Center with forecaster Steve Nedlick. Steve, if I'm wanting to go to a pumpkin patch or do something for crying out loud, what do I need to be wearing?
Absolutely. You need to keep wearing those shorts and T-shirts because this heat is not going to go anywhere. Now, if we take a look right now, currently we're still at 80 degrees, which is well above average for this time of year. We'd really be expecting 60s to 70s, but right now we're still stuck in the 80s with clear skies. And if we take a look at the regional map, we're in the 80s, but honestly, as we go west, we're in the mid 80s. So it gets even warmer the more west you go in Ohio. So this heat isn't really going anywhere. And there's really no rain that's going to be around to help cool us off. Now, south of us, there's a few showers popping up, but for the most part, we're going to stay dry, especially as we move into the overnight hours, and that is where we're going to drop into the mid-50s. So again, not super warm overnight because we don't have those clouds that help keep that heat in, but again, pretty chilly temperatures tonight, all things considered, but tomorrow we heat right back up with plenty of sunny skies. So stay tuned for my full forecast where we break down what the rest of the week looks like.
Thanks, Steve. Parts of the federal government will likely turn off the lights in just a few hours. That's because of a funding standstill centered on the cost of health care. Amy Kiley reports on what the shutdown means for you.
Millions and millions of lives will be upended.
The federal government could shut down tonight and Americans could feel the impact. That's unless Congress reaches an agreement by midnight.
I think we're headed to a shutdown because the Democrats won't do the right thing.
Sticking points remain. Democrats want to undo recent Medicaid cuts and preserve certain Obamacare subsidies. They also want to make it harder for the president to cut funds Congress has approved.
This relates to the well-being and the health of the American people.
In a shutdown, non-essential federal employees face furloughs. For Americans, that might affect customer service, paperwork, national parks, food inspections, and more. The White House is even threatening to fire some workers.
The federal workforce is already shrinking rapidly, down by 97,000 jobs.
Social Security payments will continue, but the timing could be confusing. Today, an unrelated executive order is ending paper government checks. Meanwhile, a shutdown could cause travel delays.
Planes will take off, but it's going to be a massive strain on the system.
Some experts worry a government closure could hurt the economy. It also could delay the release of economic reports crucial to investors and the Federal Reserve.
This will be a momentous week for the U.S. economy and the financial markets.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
In the past, a federal government shutdown hasn't put too much of a long-term dent in the overall U.S. economy. However, experts are warning the release of the Labor Department's monthly jobs could leave economists, businesses, and even the Federal Reserve uninformed about the state of the economy.
When times are uncertain, people have a harder time making decisions, so that slows down economic activity that we see amongst consumers, but also amongst businesses. And so this is just one more thing to add to that list of items that are making the economy a bit uncertain at this point.
The Trump administration is also warning there could be permanent cuts to the federal workforce if a shutdown occurs, which could put more job hunters on the market. Coming up, the FBI is still investigating the deadly church attack in Michigan this weekend.
And a second detainee has been killed after last week's shooting at an ICE detainment facility.
Fall has begun, but the summer heat is still here. Find out when we cool off next.
Your first guest, Margaret Thatcher.
There's never been a woman Prime Minister.
Thank you for joining us, Mrs. Thatcher.
Goodbye, then.
A quick intro and
presumably a two-shot.
He's your favourite journalist. You ready?
Yes. One mistake and they will have me out.
We have to be tougher.
To a fourth term!
I know what I have to do. What on earth is going on?
Betrayal.
Sunday at 8 on WOUB.
On Masterpiece.
Yesterday's robbery was the largest in world history.
We're looking for 6 robbers and 3 tons of gold.
That's very pretty.
That is how England works, love. That lot have it and us lot nick it.
I should take 25%.
Every ring, every watch. If you're looking for the gold, it's all around you. This will only get faster and faster, till one day, it's all gone.
The Gold, a new series on Masterpiece. Sunday at 10 on WOUB.
You only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough.
This is our chance to prove ourselves.
Here's to possibilities.
Well, then we best get started.
There's much about me that you don't know.
You're persistent, I'll give you that. You have been busy.
Justice never sleeps.
Every time I see you, there are more of you. And we're even more successful.
You are many things. You're not boring.
Let's not get carried away. We are going to do this together. I'm really impressed.
We're looking for 3 tons of gold.
It's murder. We have a match.
Probably just coincidence.
Nope.
There's never a dull moment.
It's been 2 days since a devastating mass shooting and arson attack was carried out on a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in a small Michigan community. Investigators are still searching for a possible motive.
Cole Higgins has the latest on details of the investigation and the attacker who died in a shootout with officers.
The investigation into the deadly attack that killed 4 people and left 8 others injured at a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan, continues.
I mean, the church is basically gone. And you really cannot imagine. It's just burnt down to the bricks. And the unimaginable terror that went on in that place of worship during a church service, it's hard to take in.
As the community grieves, investigators are combing through the wreckage of the church and searching for a possible motive. The 40-year-old gunman and Iraq War veteran Thomas Jacob Sanford had openly declared his hatred for the LDS Church and its followers.
He did make the statement that Mormons are the Antichrist, which is a shocking statement.
Chris Johns is a city council candidate in Burton, Michigan. He says he met Sanford on the campaign trail about a week before the attack.
He had very strong opinions, nothing that was related to violence that would indicate violence, just somebody who had a very, very strong held belief that really he had maybe a philosophical animus, but not necessarily a desire to do what he did.
He definitely talked about groups of people in ways that weren't acceptable.
Kara Pattison was a friend of Sanford.
If you asked me, out of everybody I know, to pick 10 people you think might do something a little like this, I wouldn't not pick him, and I hate saying that.
I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
Okay guys, hear me out. I love the sunshine, you can't get me wrong, but I feel like we need a little bit of rain and the heat. It needs to go down a bit.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm waiting for that fall weather, but we're really not going to get it anytime soon. This heat's here for a while, and really no rain to help us out either.
Oh no.
But if we take a peek at the whole countrywide temperature map, everyone's kind of getting this. There's no real place on the map that is kind of feeling those fall-like temperatures yet. We got 65 over in Boise, but really nothing that we'd be expecting for this time of year. Chicago 81, Athens still kind of 80. Now if we zoom in a little bit and look at the regional map, we are sitting again at 80 in Athens, and then a little off to the west, we're still pretty warm, but all of this heat really has nowhere to go, and that's why we really haven't experienced those fall-like temperatures yet. Taking a look at the radar, again, no real rain in the forecast either to help cool us off. There's a little bit down south, but that's going to stay there and not really affect us. And then if we zoom out a little bit, we have a little bit of clouds, a little bit of rain, and then these clouds kind of helped earlier not let it get too warm because it kind of blocked some of that sunshine, but they've started to move out and really let that sun start to enter our region and helped heat us up a little bit. Now, the reason we are going to be experiencing all of this is because of this high pressure that is going to push its way into our region and then not really move after that. So it's going to set up a really stale period of weather where we're just going to be getting a lot of very nice sunny weather. But for this time of year, we're kind of sick of that and we want a little bit cooler, maybe a little bit of rain, especially with that drought going on. Now I want to direct you to off into the water over here. We're dealing with 2 hurricanes. Now they're not going to affect us, but it's something definitely of note because we've had such a relaxed hurricane season so far. There hasn't been many landfalls. So they're just going to, right now they're both category 1s and they're just going to keep heading out to sea. So it's nothing that we're going to have impact us, but it's certainly something to keep an eye on. Moving back up here, high pressure tomorrow morning is kind of just going to set up shop and really not go anywhere. If we look at tomorrow, it starts to actually move down south and that'll start pulling up even more warm air from the Gulf because this time of year, the Gulf of Mexico is very warm. So we're going to be experiencing some higher temperatures and it's really not going to change for the next few days. 36 hours out from now, so Thursday morning, we're just going to be the same thing. Warm, sunny skies, and that's really not going to change. And then Thursday night, we just kind of have this rain start to peak into our region. But again, this high pressure is creating a little bit of a dome, and that's really not going to let any precipitation or any of this cloud cover enter our area. Now, for tonight, mostly cloudy skies, so that's going to help keep some of that warmth in. It's going to act as a little bit of a blanket to help insulate. So that's why we're not going to get too low tonight with a high or an overnight low of 55 degrees. Tomorrow, again, sunny skies, and so all of that sunshine is going to radiate down to us, and that's going to really start cooking up, and it's going to actually increase this drought that we've been experiencing. Now, the readings only come out every Thursday. The rain we experienced last week certainly helped that, but since we're drying out for the next week or so, these drought-like conditions aren't going to go anywhere. And then an overnight low of 50 tomorrow, because absolutely no clouds are going to be around, so there's going to be no insulation to help keep some of that heat in. So every day is kind of going to be like a rinse and repeat, and that can really be shown on this map here, and because this is our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, and it really kind of agrees with us. The darker red means that how far we are going to be above average. Now, this time of year, we'd be expecting high 60s, low 70s, but we're getting none of that. We're getting upper 70s, low 80s. And looking at the 7-day, that's really not going to change anytime soon. Looking at the rest of the work week, identical days, 3 days in a row, 80s and a low of 50 with sunny skies. And then if we look once we get to the weekend, we actually only get hotter and a few clouds start to enter our region. Before Tuesday, we finally get a chance of rain to help kind of get rid of this drought, and on a high of 78 and a low of 61. So these shorts aren't going anywhere.
A second detainee has died after a shooting at an Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility in Dallas. Miguel Angel Garcia Hernandez was one of the 3 detainees who were shot last Wednesday, and also one of the detainees who was attacked. A Homeland Security official says the 32-year-old died while still hospitalized after the shooting. Norland Guzman Fuentes, a 32-year-old El Salvadorian national, died the day of the attack. The third victim is still hospitalized. President Donald Trump says Americans may be able to buy medicine at a discount price. Earlier today, the president unveiled his plan to lower drug costs in the U.S. The plan includes the creation of a direct-to-consumer website called Trump RX, which is where the medicine can be bought. Sources say the plan also includes a deal with Pfizer to cut the cost of its medications.
Moving forward, all new medications introduced by Pfizer to the American market will be sold at the reduced most favored nation costs. So we'll be paying essentially what other countries are paying, who have been much lower, much lower for many, many years.
It's important to clean and disinfect your home to prevent the spread of germs, but some cleaning products can be dangerous if they're used improperly. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on the dangers and how to safely disinfect your house.
Washing hands and highly touched surfaces are 2 keys to keeping viruses and other illnesses from spreading. But some of the cleaning supplies in your home can be dangerous if used the wrong way.
The nonprofit Environmental Working Group found that more than 2,000 cleaning products in the United States might contain chemicals linked to asthma, cancer, and chemical burns.
The CDC says in most situations, cleaning alone with soap and water can remove most germs on surfaces. However, if someone in your home has been sick or a person who recently visited had an illness, the agency says properly diluted bleach can effectively kill germs. But take these steps for safety. Use regular, unscented household bleach that contains between 5 to 9% sodium hypochlorite. If it's laundry or splashless bleach, it may not be appropriate for disinfection, so make sure it's in that percentage range. Never mix household bleach or any other disinfectant with other cleaners or disinfectants. This can release vapors that can be dangerous to breathe in. Make sure you have good ventilation, for example, open windows. Check the label to see if you need to wear protective equipment like gloves or eye protection, and follow directions on the bottle to prepare a diluted bleach solution. You can also check if your other cleaners are safe.
Next time you need to replace something, spend a minute looking for this, the EPA's Safer Choice label, or checking their online database.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Next in sports, a trip to Indiana is on the horizon as the Bobcats are heading to Muncie for the first time since 2022. Find out where Brian Smith's head is at on the bye after the break. And for the latest from Newswatch, follow us on X, Instagram, and YouTube, and stay tuned for a new episode of The Lookout coming tomorrow.
PBS viewers believe that businesses that sponsor PBS on WOUB Public Television have a commitment to quality and excellence. Sponsoring a PBS television program offers your business a unique opportunity to connect with a highly engaged, loyal, and trustful audience in a clutter-free environment. leading to increased brand awareness, positive perception, and potential for higher customer engagement. Your sponsorship is important to the community, and the rewards come back to you in the form of loyal customers. Align your organization with America's most trusted news and public affairs network. WOUB Public Television is worthy of your trust. Contact Corporate Support Director Kathy Malesic at 740-593-4909 or online at woub.org/support.
CasualWorks was not designed, created, or maintained by people who studied disability. They're people who studied opportunity. If a person has very limited movement and can make little teeny circles, there's a place for you. The idea of workers contorting themselves to a job is one business model. Our business model is that the job responds to the worker.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
Last year's MAC road opener for the Bobcats, it was a little bit of a scare. They nearly blew a lead to Central Michigan to fall to 3-3 on the season. This year, well, the Bobcats are 3-2, and their first MAC road game is up next. They still won that game against CMU, though, but there's no margin for error against Ball State this Saturday. The Cardinals were an abysmal 3-9 last year, and Ohio blew them out to clinch a spot in the MAC championship game. But Ball State has improved. They have a new head coach. Defense is going to be key on both sides, though, as the Cardinals generated pressure against an SEC offensive line at Auburn. The main key for Ohio is playing their game and getting out of this week healthy for their bye, but still giving it their all.
No, you're giving everything you got every week. That doesn't change. The nice thing knowing that you have the bye the next week is that there's some guys that are questionable that I think we feel better about getting them back following the bye. So I think our depth and some of our personnel groupings are going to get stronger as you come out of that bye week.
All right, we had a lot of stellar performances across the board in Ohio athletics this week, and the theme was Unsung Heroes. Ohio field hockey was back at home. Ohio hockey season began last week, and both of them are included in the Bobcat Showcase Athletes of the Week this week. Let's go ahead and start with Luke Reeve from Ohio hockey. The Bobcats swept number 16 Oswego State, and he was at the forefront of that with 3 goals and 2 assists. Ash Stevenson, Ohio field hockey's goalie, threw in a shutout to help the Bobcats come up with the upset of the year over number 11 UMass. Finally, Cam Hollabaugh was everywhere on defense with 8 tackles and a pick 6. The date on the calendar says September 30th, but October baseball starts today. Both MLB Ohio teams have made the postseason, and the Cleveland Guardians got things started this afternoon in one that came down to the final out over their rival, the Detroit Tigers. I'm sure you've heard at this point, the Tigers collapsed to let the Guardians win the AL Central. Revenge is absolutely on the Tigers' minds. They want October baseball at Comerica Park. Spencer Torkelson's trying his best to get them there. He gets the scoring started in the first inning. Fast forward, bottom 4, here comes the Cleveland response. They finally get to the Tigers' ace, Tarek Skubal. His throw to home is not in time. The runner is initially called out, but it's overturned, so it's now tied 1-1. 7th inning, here comes Zach McKinstry laying down a bunt with runners on the corners. That's just enough for the Tigers to get the lead back. Can the bullpen hold on? Bottom 9, Jose Ramirez in scoring position. Here's the chance to become a legend. The chopper gets out to the mound. Jose Ramirez, what are you doing? Detroit goes ahead, and they survive this one. They go on to win 2-1. All right, that's an exciting one to get the playoffs going, but here are the Cincinnati Reds closing us out tonight at 9 p.m. out on the West Coast. They get the Dodgers, who are surprisingly struggling a little bit as they didn't get a bye. Cincinnati has a chance to right some wrongs this week, as a win tonight would be their first win in a playoff game since 2012, their first playoff series win since 1995. I'm going to tell you what, I was not alive for that. Definitely looking forward to see if the Reds can get it going. That's all the time we've got for tonight. In the meantime, you can get all of your Ohio Bobcats news on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Go ahead and follow at Bobcat Showcase on all 3 platforms and visit woub.org/sports.
But you probably won't see pumpkins as big as these on people's front steps. The break, but until then, here's a look at what's coming up next on your public television station.
on American Experience. In the midst of the Vietnam War, Lower Manhattan becomes a battlefield.
When I was a student, I just felt, we have to fight this. We have to.
To us, we grew up that you support the United States of America.
The Hard Hat Riot is a microcosm of the polarization that will come to define American life.
Hard Hat Riot on American Experience.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
In our biotech ecosystem, one might ask, what would have happened if there was no Phil Sharp?
In creating treatments for the disease, Phil's laboratories led the way.
He would walk through the lab and do this. Any breakthroughs today?
I would say he wanted to win, yes.
I wasn't a stronger student, not even close, but I turned out to be very imaginative.
Monday at 10 on WOUB.
Can you feel the moment?
The American Revolution changed the world.
Where the story unfolds.
Everybody had the sense of possibility worth fighting for.
What took place here still leaves us in awe.
We can work towards equality together.
Wow, this is the missing piece. Incredible.
To confront these figures from ancient history is a great privilege.
Our history tells us who we are, where we came from.
And it's all connected.
Like links in a chain.
Like links in a chain, yeah.
All I can do is say thank you.
Wow, this is phenomenal.
I'm really grateful for this.
With Halloween just about a month away, you may be looking for the perfect pumpkin soon. But the ones you're about to see will not fit on your front porch. Elroy Morgan of Charleston, West Virginia is no stranger to growing big pumpkins. Morgan plans to drop off one of his pumpkins in Bangor, where it will sit in front of a Chick-fil-A and be part of a Guess the Weight contest. Though it's not even his biggest of the year. As he's already looking forward to next year, he hopes he can grow one weighing a ton or more. The heaviest pumpkin sits at more than 2,700 pounds, according to Guinness World Records. Y'all, that is insane, but I must share something. So when I was in high school, I won a pageant and I was Miss Circleville Pumpkin Show, like a queen of the pumpkins.
Oh my gosh, this is just meant for you, the pumpkins.
And he had the same name. I feel like my future passion is being handed to me. So, anywho, is it pumpkin growing weather, Steve? Can I grow a pumpkin?
Unfortunately, I don't think so. You're going to have to wait for your calling after this one because we're still way above average, and that can really be shown by our temperature graphs right now. Tonight, not so much. Overnight low of 55, so it might feel a little bit chilly out there. But then once we look at tomorrow and the 7-day, that doesn't look like pumpkin growing season to me. 80s across the board. We got 80 on Wednesday, an overnight low of 50 tomorrow, so a little bit cooler. And then on Thursday, we have some clouds move into the region, but again, 80s and 50s. And then once we get to Saturday is where we see those skies begin to clear back out. High of 82 on Saturday, so if you have any plans, they should go off without a hitch. And then on the overnight low for Saturday is 51, so a little bit chilly. If you're heading out the door, maybe grab a jacket. And then once we get into the beginning of next week, we start to see those clouds get introduced back into our forecast. But that heat is still here, a high of 82 on Monday and a low of 61. And then on Tuesday, we finally get that rain back into the region and we dip out of the 80s to hopefully help get rid of that drought.
That does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at Newswatch, I'm Morgan Anderson.
And I'm Parker Davis. Be sure to stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. Have a great night.
We're on the precipice of a great discovery.